current cattle prices sure are attractive, but how long will they last? Crew, let's ranch it up. Good day, everyone, and thanks for riding with us on this all-new episode of the Ranch It Up Radio Show. I'm Jeff Tigger Earhart. A big thank you goes out to our sponsors and partners, RanchChannel.com, The Happy Toy Maker, Jorgensen Land and Cattle, Clear Springs Cattle Company, bringing us the mature cow and red heifer dispersal sale, Transova Genetics, Axiota Animal Health, bringing us Multimin and Lactapro, Stockman's Livestock Exchange, the American Gelbvieh Association, Imogene Ingredients, bringing us Farmatan, Westway Feed Products, Medora Boot and Western Wear, Allied Genetic Resources and Allied Feeding Partners, LivestockMarket.com, EquineMarket.com, AuctionTime.com, the Tri-State Livestock News, RFD TV, Wrangler, and this fine radio station. Cow Country News, you know, the cow stuff. Our top news story, a senior scientist and veterinarian specializing in both dairy and poultry medicine says the time has come for the beef industry to monitor for potential crossover of H5 bird flu from infected dairy herds. Kay Russo, whose experience spans clinical practice, research, and industry, said up until this point, we've sort of put blinders on during this outbreak to focus solely on lactating dairy animals. Therefore, we really have very limited beef cattle data. Now, first detected in dairy herds in March, the virus has continued to infect poultry farms and some farm workers from both industries. Russo, who holds both a DVM from Cornell University and a master's degree in avian health and medicine from the University of Georgia, cited findings that suggested antibodies to the same influenza strain are developing in non-lactating dairy cattle. Russo said we have no idea if this virus is in beef cattle, and if so, what role that even plays in the viral ecology and spread of the virus. So, as scary as it may seem for the beef industry, she says that she thinks we need to start testing beef cattle for antibodies at the very least now that there's an antibody test that has been validated in beef cattle. She says we can manage at the end of the day what we know, but there's simply no way of managing what we don't know. And this virus, she says, I'm going to be honest with you, it ain't going anywhere anytime soon, so step up and start doing some of these tests to better define the path forward. And at the very least, if you do notice anything strange happening in your beef cattle herd, to reach out to your veterinarian immediately. And now some news from the north. The Canadian cattle herd is forecast to sustain the long-term trend of contraction to begin 2025, but will begin to stabilize by the year's end on improved feed pricing and availability is what some experts are forecasting. A smaller calf crop, they say, will be produced based on 2024 breeding stock, but heifer retention should improve if feed conditions continue to remain stable or improve. Higher heifer retention coupled with a smaller calf crop will see lowered beef production and slaughter in 2025. As a percent of production, experts say, that Canadian beef exports are forecast to remain strong, while imports are forecast to soften on weakened consumer demand. And now, according to the National Beef Wire, through August 2024, U.S. beef imports saw a notable increase of over 20%. Rising from 2.51 billion pounds in 2023 to 3.03 billion pounds this year, 2024. Among the top contributing countries, Canada remained the largest supplier with over 650 million pounds, a 3.18% increase from last year. Australia showed some significant growth, with imports surging by almost 70%, making it the second largest beef exporter to the United States after Canada. Brazil also experienced a sharp increase of almost 42%, with imports growing to 496 million pounds. Now, on the other hand, Mexico saw a decrease of over 15%, with imports dropping. Uruguay recorded the highest percentage of growth amongst all countries, with imports increasing by over 71%. New Zealand and Nicaragua also contributed to U.S. beef imports, with increases of over 8% and almost 2% respectively. Now, this growth in imports reflects increased global beef demand with particular strength from regions like Australia and Uruguay, offsetting declines in Mexico. Overall, the U.S. beef import market has expanded significantly year over year. Last week, Friday, I had mentioned on the Ranch It Up Radio Show weekly recap, I would go into just a tick more detail on Faith Livestock and their Charolais-influenced feeders sale that they had last week. Listen to this, y'all, again. Faith Livestock in Faith, South Dakota, Charolais-influenced feeders sale. I want to mention this group again. Here is 80 head of 635 weight steer calves, bringing $311.50. I mentioned that one last week. Had to bring it up again. Cindy and Justin Linsko brought 353 head of Charolais steers and heifers to the sale at Faith Livestock. Here's a potload, 100 head of Charolais cross steer calves weighing 528, bringing $332 on the lightweight steers, 58 head of those, half a pot, 426-pound steers, bringing $353.5. On the heifer side, a potload of heifers weighing just a tick over 500 pounds, bringing $306.50, and then the lighter weight heifer calves just a tick under 400 pounds, bringing $323. To check out the full sale report, we have all that information available in the show notes at ranchitupshow.com for this particular episode. Now, time for a quick break, and when we come back right here on the Ranch It Up Radio Show, how high are these prices going to go? What can we expect going into the rest of this fall and even into next year? Keep it locked. The Ranch It Up Radio Show will be back.
There's still lots of time to market those calves. Add Allied Genetic Resources and Allied Feeding Partners to the list of marketing options. With over 30,000 feeder cattle marketing annually, the Allied Genetic team works to help commercial producers capture top dollars. Contact any of the Allied team by heading to AlliedGeneticResources.com.
Clear Springs Cattle Company that brings you the annual Bred for Balance sale. They invite you to the first annual mature cow and red heifer dispersal. Proven top Simmental and Sim Angus genetics, Saturday, November 30th at the ranch in Starbuck, Minnesota. All the details at ranchchannel.com and bredforbalance.com.
If your herd is suffering from scours and has had scours, see immediate results with Farmatan from Imogene Ingredients. Get your herd on a Farmatan feeding plan now to prevent scours for next calving season. Get your herd back in shape, more breedbacks, healthier calves, and eliminate scours with Farmatan. Check out FarmatanUSA.com and on Facebook.
RanchChannel.com. Bull sales, Western events, product information, and more right at your fingertips on the ultimate cowboy-friendly platform. Want to follow up-to-date markets? Head to RanchChannel.com. No need to dig for information on all these different websites. It's all right there on RanchChannel.com.
Have you considered IVF, in vitro fertilization, in your cow herd? You need to look at your herd's full potential, and Transova Genetics is there to help you along the way. From now until September 30th, use your pregnant donor and IVF technology and receive a $100 discount. Call Transova Genetics today. Unlock your herd's potential.
Jorgensen Land and Cattle presents the Legends of the Fall Bull Sale, Friday, November 15th at Arcadia Stockyard in Arcadia, Florida, selling JLC Smart Bulls along with long-aged Wink Charolais Bulls. Sale information at jorgensenfarms.com and ranchchannel.com.
Welcome back to the Ranch It Up Radio Show. We're kind of changing it up here a little bit when we talk with Kirk Donsbach, StoneX Financial Incorporated. So, Kirk, before we kind of get into a little discussion, let's just start with the recap from last week. Let's just start there and let's go through the numbers and we'll build off that.
All right, Tigger. Good morning, as always, and to all your listeners out there. As of Friday, October 18th, November feeder futures closed the week at 247.07 and a half. That's down 235 on the week, with the CME feeder index up 75 cents at 250.80. That left the basis at a positive $2.47.5 versus October futures and positive $3.20 versus November futures. December live cattle closed the week at 187.10. That's down 35 cents on the week, with cash trading 188 in the south and 187 to 89 in the north. That left the 5-area weighted average of 45 cents at 187.53, and the basis versus October futures as negative 9.5 cents. So basically even, cash is even with futures. Weekly slaughter came in at 608,000. That's up 22,000 head from last week and 30,000 head less than the same week last year. Choice boxes, the definite bright spot of the week, closed at $320.65. That's up $9.43 on the week. The steady live prices and higher box prices have pushed estimated spot packer margins to plus $50 to $65. So it's good to see the packer making a little money. Hope we get our chance to make a little more here soon. To wrap up the marketing part of this, December corn closed the week at $4.04. That's down 12.5 cents on the week. Corn did hold the $4 support on the technical perspective, and with harvest wrapping up, from a fundamental perspective, that should see some potential bullishness.
Now, Kirk, before I let you off the phone, normally we just kind of do a little recap, but I wanted to go and dive a little deeper on the weeds in this one. I follow a lot of sale barns on Facebook. That's one of the things I love about it. And their sale barns are really great about posting what calves are selling for, putting up videos. They're taking pictures of the scale, right? So you can see, what their weight was, what they sold for, all of that. Now, going forward, what, the crystal ball, go ahead and pull that out and the magic 8 ball and shake that up here a little bit. What's kind of your thoughts going forward? Because we're smack dab in the middle of the time where some guys are shipping calves and sale barns are full and people are marketing a lot of cattle. What's kind of your thoughts going into this fall? And I know that when we throw the election into it, that can kind of throw a monkey wrench into things too. But I'm just kind of curious what your thoughts are going forward on this deal.
So, Tigger, if you don't mind, just to clarify a little bit, going forward, you're talking the next couple months?
Exactly.
Or are we talking next year?
I'm talking the next couple months. Yeah, sorry, I should clarify that. Kind of wrapping up 2024.
Well, I think there's some seasonal pattern and basis patterns that probably the most significant or important pieces of information to realize. Start with the seasonal and the futures market. Obviously, we've had a pretty bullish correction off of those lows. Prices are just about back, say within 10 cents back of where we spent most of the summer. And for the listeners out there, just to realize how unusual that would be for futures to rally and make new highs at this time of year. Not saying it can't happen. There's definitely bullish years that you could show me where it did happen, but for the listeners to realize that it's extremely rare to match or set new highs this late in the fall. The other real important piece of that is to realize that the basis is typically very normally going to weaken. So the difference from futures to your cash price is going to weaken as we go into the fall and you get the big calf runs. So I guess all in all, to oversimplify that, I think the odds would be against cash prices rallying much more than they already have off of those lows.
So strategy-wise going forward, or let me just back up here a little bit, and with what you have access to of information, because of these attractive prices, I'm going to say, and this type of almost anomaly we're going into of what you're saying about futures potentially reaching newer highs, are guys selling off their heifer calves just because of the prices of where they're at?
So it's kind of anecdotal. I don't have any, I guess I have on feed numbers that show that the heifer placement is right where it has been. And then anecdotally, kind of what I see out my window, I'm not seeing any retention of heifers. I am not expecting any herd building or herd growth at all from my perspective, or at least what I've seen yet. And that would include the dairies. I'd say the dairies are in a very similar situation.
And I would agree with you.
I'm not seeing.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't mean to jump on you there, but I would agree with you. I'm not seeing the same thing anecdotally, like you said, just looking out the window and seeing just kind of what trends potentially could be. I'm not seeing a lot of guys retaining females either. So if that is the case, what does that mean for prices now? Let's start to jump into 2025 for, that marketing swath of those January and February stocker cattle.
A very interesting question. I think obviously the fundamental situation with cattle alone is very bullish. I think the cattle numbers will probably be less and less, especially if we'd happen to see that heifer retention start in the spring. And I'm not saying it will, but if you did add that to the already bullish fundamental story, clearly that would give even more upside potential. So cattle alone, I think, are quite bullish. Obviously, you've got election. You've obviously got a lot of economic concerns, and you can't have crazy high beef prices in the midst of a recession. Now, that recession has not came yet. It's been one that's been promised for about 2 years, and we have not seen it. I think the more interesting play now, after they've cut interest rates and kind of as we've watched the markets respond and the funds respond, inflation is actually bullish cattle prices, in my opinion. Now, to clarify, that's not necessarily bullish to profit margins, but bullish to prices. There's very much the potential that prices next year would be as good or better than they are this year. Now, obviously, an election and the broader economy are the one thing that can give us a black eye.
You know, that's interesting that that you say that looking forward. Here's where things get a little bit dicey, and we've talked about this kind of this summer with a number of the different guests that I've had on moving into the fall. And let's pick on those bred heifers, my favorite topic, because I remember back in the days, God dang it, Kirk, we're going to date ourselves, when I remember selling a group of bred heifers. Actually, it was with my dad, and we topped the market back in that Thanksgiving, 1st of December, early Christmas runs, right, when traditionally a lot of bred heifers are sold. I remember we topped the market at $16.85 a head. I'll say that again, at $16.85 a head, and we were just elated, Kirk, that we had topped the market that day. Well, look at what these bred females are being posted for sale right now. $3,000 is where they're at. Now, that's where it gets kind of tricky here, where if a guy has to rebuild their herd, and we're looking at the attractive prices of getting cash in hand, right, of selling those heifer calves, but on the backside, are we going to have to go and try to purchase some of these bred heifers to try to bring our cow numbers back up? That's where it gets really tricky, and I'm bringing this thing full circle about, I mean, guys really, really need to sit down and run the numbers on this, because as exciting as this time is, would you say, in your perspective, that it can also be a very dangerous time?
Without a doubt, absolutely is a dangerous time. Some of the worst decisions I've ever made are the heifers I bought on my best years that never pay for themselves, right?
Right, yeah.
You buy that $3,000 animal, and then she spends most of her life selling $1.75 calves instead of the $3 calves. Now, that's not a prediction. I'm just saying that's what happened in 14 and 15, right? And I would say, you know, as far as growth goes, I really think there is some PTSD out there from 14 and 15. We were so encouraged, so excited about the market. We responded to the market and built the herd back up, and we made the packer a lot of money for the next 10 years, and I think that memory's quite fresh. Now, what we haven't mentioned so far is taxes. You know, I think that's, if we see growth this fall or going into next spring, it's probably going to be a response to the IRS and trying to keep our income taxes down. I could see some growth to counter income taxes, but short of that, I really don't.
So now more than ever is really a time that stop. I would say that you would be with this 100%, to stop and run numbers and really find out where a person is at, because I'm going to bring back that danger word again, because it's fun to jump on, like I said, Facebook and all of these different sale barns that I follow, and I follow a lot of them, and it's exciting to see what these prices are bringing. But then on the backside, when you have to think about maintenance going forward, just like buying that new truck, you don't want to get upside down in your payment and all that stuff, right? It can be a very dangerous time. And I think now more than ever, guys really, really need to know exactly where they're at, good, bad, and indifferent, to try to make the best possible decision they can, not just for this fall when prices are attractive, but going into 2025.
No, I would agree, Tigger, and I think if your listeners haven't already figured out, I'm a bit of a contrarian. So if everybody's selling, I want to look for buying opportunities, and if everybody's buying, I don't know if I want to be selling, but I'm definitely buying a little less. And I think that would be my response of what I'm personally going to do to answer your question on these bred heifers. I will buy bred heifers, but if I normally buy 60 or 100, I'm probably not going to buy that many.
Now you just said that you're going to buy bred heifers, and boy, howdy, Kirk's phone is going to ring off the hook. Everybody's got bred heifers to sell Kirk, including me. So we're going to take a commercial break, and Kirk and I are going to talk a little business maybe. So, hey, I appreciate it, as always, of you coming on and visiting with us and just sharing your thoughts and just having, Calman to Calman, a good conversation.
Absolutely, Tigger. It was very much enjoyed on this end also.
Well, stick around, crew. We've got a lot more of the Ranch It Up radio shows coming up right after this. Keep it locked, y'all. Attention cattle producers. Boost your herd's trace mineral status with Axiota Animal Health's Multi-Min 9D. This injectable solution delivers essential trace minerals known to support cattle health and reproduction. Don't settle for less when it comes to your herd health. Trust Axiota Animal Health to keep your cattle in prime condition. Visit your local supplier or veterinarian to learn more about Multi-Min 90. Multi-Min 90, because healthy cattle mean a healthy bottom line.
LivestockMarket.com. We hear from the crew at LivestockMarket.com every week. Bulls, cows, bred heifers, open and replacement heifers, cow-calf pairs, feeders and stockers, horses, pigs, goats, sheep, show stock, hay and straw, and even alpacas. All listed on LivestockMarket.com.
Howdy, folks. Do you have that young cow kid in your life and trying to find the perfect gift this holiday season? Look no further than the Happy Toy Maker. Order now in time for Christmas at thehappytoymaker.com and check them out on Facebook. Toys that last a lifetime.
Should I sell heifers or keep some as replacements? Consider upgrading your cow herd with material instinct and stayability, all while providing that extra shot of heterosis. Look no further than Gelbvieh and Balancer Genetics. Discover the cow power with Gelbvieh and Balancer. Gelbvieh and Balancer, smart, reliable, profitable. Gelbvieh.org.
The best way to raise beef on pasture, on crop residue, or in a dry lot, it's Westway feed products. Westway liquid supplements support increased forage utilization, efficiency, convenience, and sustainability. Find your nearest rep by calling 800-800-7517 or head to westwayfeed.com on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and TikTok.
Hey all, it's Mark VanZee with LivestockMarket.com. Coming up this Wednesday, October 30th, we have a special hay and straw online auction. Over 1,700 bales of alfalfa, grass, straw, and corn stalks. We got large squares, rounds, and small squares. Bidding opens at $1 a bale, no reserves, all lots will sell. Featured lots include 60 large square alfalfa bales, 3x3x8, 600 pounds, first cutting, manure fertilized, no rain, from Edgar Auctions in Belle Plaine, Minnesota. 23 tons of large square alfalfa, 3x4x8, 1,350 pounds, tested, 137 RFV, 18% moisture, 20% crude protein, weed-free from Keller Farms in Sand Creek, Michigan. 192 large round corn stalk bales, selling on 5 lots of 32 bales. It's 5x6 net wrap from Boehm Auction in Mandan, North Dakota. 32 large round alfalfa grass mix bales. It's 4x5 net wrap manure fertilized. First cutting, 900 pounds, no rain from Edgar Auctions in Belle Plaine, Minnesota. 27 large round CRP bales, 5x6 net wrap bale dry from Allenberger Auctions. 20 large round grass bales, 5x5 net wrapped Allenberger Auctions. And 29 large round alfalfa grass mix bales, 5x5 net wrapped, 1,200 pounds, 60% alfalfa, first cutting from Allenberger. Small squares, I got 600 small square alfalfa bales, selling on 3 separate lots at second cutting, 52 pounds, horse quality, no rain, and no loading free from Nelson Ranch. 120 small square alfalfa bales, selling on 6 lots of 20. It's all fourth cutting, irrigated, really nice hay, no rain from Cobb's Auctions in David City, Nebraska. 120 small square alfalfa grass mix bales from Allenberger Auctions in Illinois. 100 small square grass bales that was really, really nice hay, made dry, put upright from Allenberger Auctions in Illinois. And 100 small square alfalfa brome mix bales, selling on 2 lots of 50. It's 90% alfalfa, 50 pounds from Mark Aaron Auctioneers in Cedar Falls, Iowa. Bidding's currently live, but all lots will sell the morning of Wednesday, October 30th at 10 a.m. Central Time. You got hay to sell? Online hay auctions every Wednesday on LivestockMarket.com and AuctionTime.com.
How would you feel about getting a greater share in the profit your steers bring to the entire supply chain? Hey, I'm Shaye Wanner, and I'm the host of the Casual Cattle Conversations podcast. Chad Tentinger is the founder of Cattleman's Heritage, the company building a 2,000 head per day packing plant outside of Council Bluffs, Iowa. The Cattleman's Heritage business model allows for over 20% ownership by producers, and they do that by selling shares through Legacy Beef Co-op. They are also using a pricing model based on the choice cutout boxed beef index to differentiate themselves from other marketing avenues in the industry. I had the chance to visit with Chad on one of my latest podcast episodes, where he shared his purpose for founding these companies, how the business structure works, and more importantly, how ranchers can get involved. You can learn more about Legacy Beef Co-op and Cattleman's Heritage by listening to the full podcast episode with Chad on Casual Cattle Conversations. Happy ranching, folks.
And that is going to wrap it up for today. A big thanks from our crew to yours. Shaye Wanner with Casual Cattle Conversations, Kirk Donsbach, StoneX Financial Incorporated, Mark VanZee with LivestockMarket.com, and the boss lady, Rebecca Wanner, a.k.a. Beck, not with us again today. A big thank you goes out to our partners, RanchChannel.com. Check it out. Put it on your favorites. The Happy Toy Maker. If you're wanting to get some orders in before Christmas, check them out at thehappytoymaker.com. Jorgensen Land and Cattle. They've got a big sale coming up here in just a few weeks. Clear Springs Cattle Company and the Mature Cow and Red Heifer Dispersal Sale. Transova Genetics. Axiota Animal Health, bringing us Multimin and Lactapro. Stockman's Livestock Exchange. The American Gelbvieh Association. Imogene Ingredients, bringing us Farmatan, Westway Feed Products, Medora Boot and Western Wear, Allied Genetic Resources and Allied Feeding Partners, LivestockMarket.com, EquineMarket.com, AuctionTime.com, the Tri-State Livestock News, RFD TV, Wrangler, and this fine radio station. And crew, so glad y'all came with us one more time as we ranch it up. Be sure to follow and like us on Facebook at Ranch It Up Show. Our email is ranchitupshow. Got to have the word show in there. ranchitupshow@gmail.com. You can call and you can text 707-RANCH20 any time of the day. 707-726-2420, 707-RANCH20. Spread the good word and join us again next week where it's always Tigger and Beck approved. Stay ranchy and ranch it up.